Hey everybody, I have two quick announcements before we get started on today's video. The first is I have a new series of artwork that I am excited to get listed in my shop, and that will be posted soon. You can sign up with the link below to be notified when it's available. And second, my new paper packet bundles. These are mixed media collage papers that you can use in a variety of different artwork, and they are also available in my shop. And now let's get into it. Today's video is about adding new layers to our collage artwork. So if you're like me, I have several collage pieces that I've kind of set aside. They haven't quite been completed, but they're looking okay and they just need to be taken up a level. And so that's what I'm going to do today in this video. I have a 12 by 12 wood panel and then these little guys 5 by 5 inch panels. And all I'm going to do to start is pull out some of my collage paper. Some of these pages that I'm going to be incorporating in are the same that are in the paper packet bundles that I just spoke about. But otherwise, this is just scrap paper that I've had around the studio. I love using sewing patterns and tissue paper to create just light layers because they allow me to add some complexity without totally covering up what I've created previously. And that's kind of the fun part about creating artwork is you can create something, set it aside, come back to it another day, and really change it up if that's what you're feeling. As artists, we are deeply feeling people most of the time, and what we create can really vary from day to day. So sometimes it's worth creating something and then just setting it aside for a little bit and coming back to it when you have a fresh perspective and fresh eyes. So like I talk about in a lot of my previous videos, when I collage, I generally start with tearing up different papers, cutting up papers, and just kind of laying it on the surface and kind of tapping into my intuition and seeing what feels good for me composition-wise. And so that's literally what I'm doing here. Nothing is permanent at this point. And as I say a lot, this is just all about play and experimentation and just kind of seeing what feels good to me. I think we can so often get caught up in making things perfect and feeling the pressure or the weight of meeting a certain expectation. And at least my approach with collage work and with my artwork, mostly out of necessity, is that I just need this to be a therapeutic, fun, light activity. And I don't want to carry any more weight or pressure than I need to right now, just given the circumstance of the world right now and the things that are going on. We just need a place to have some fun and to get some thoughts out and to create. So lean into that these days. I would really encourage you to make a space for yourself, find some art supplies, and just dabble a little bit in whatever feels good for you. So I brought out my glue here and I'm gonna start adding some of these layers that are feeling good to me. And this glue is just a very inexpensive glue for collage work that I picked up. I love that I can just squeeze the little spout and a little bit comes out, and then I can just brush it on. And I'm doing my best to, and yeah, there's the glue that I'm using. I'm doing my best to, of course, make these layers lay as flat as possible, which this glue does help with that. Clearly today I'm in a very not wanting to use too many tools, and that's kind of how I've been lately, honestly, just keeping things super simple. So all I got here today is my glue and my paintbrush. And so yeah, as I'm starting to apply these, it's feeling good for me. And a good trick too that you can do is turn around your artwork in all different directions. See what feels good, see what feels right. But so far this is working for me. So as I continue to dabble here, I just want to check in with you all and see how you are doing. What are you creating? What new projects do you have coming up? What do you wish you were creating? This YouTube channel is, I'm pretty sure about to hit about its 2-year mark, and there are definitely some things that I want to switch up in how I create my channel. And you can see the piece kind of coming together there, and how I want to create my videos and my content. And I'm hoping over the next 6 months or so, I can switch some things up. So please stay tuned for that. And also, if you have any suggestions or feedback, I am always open for that. I have heard plenty of comments about when I've asked this question before, if you prefer to have a fast forwarded video, if you prefer to have music playing in the background. And the most common feedback I get is that people just want to hear kind of my thought process while I'm creating. Um, which I guess I find a little surprising because when you're making something, you never really think anyone else cares how or why you're making certain decisions about it. Um, but yeah, it sounds like a lot of people just want to kind of hear why I'm doing certain things and how I'm going about it, and that's great. That is great for me to know. Um, and a lot of people also mention that they like to create alongside the videos with me. And so oftentimes I will fast forward a video because I fear that it's too long and boring for you all. Um, but I think some people prefer to just kind of work along with me. So I love that. And so I probably will continue to kind of do a little bit of a mix depending on how long videos are getting. But any other feedback like that would be great. There is so much opportunity with these videos, but at the same time, there's so much that can be lost in the creative process when I'm working too hard at capturing a perfect video and that kind of thing. And so I just have to find that balance there. And that's what I'm working through and hoping to kind of change things around, like I said, in the next 6 months or so. So we recently bought a game, and it had this great, all the little pieces in it left this little stencil behind with all these circles. So of course, right away, I said, I will take that into my studio. And so I'm just going to use that here to add a couple of circles. I love incorporating pencil into my collage work. And if you know me by now too, I also love to have a little bit of structure along with the abstract messy layers. Something about that just really helps balance me and my artwork out. So yeah, so that's what I'm adding here. It's just a little bit of structure, some nice clean circle lines. Just adds little elements of fun. And then we all get to this point where we're just like, what do we do next? I don't know. And so I continue just to kind of add some layers on, trying to decide what kind of layers. Do I want to add some more color, some vibrant pieces here? And so just don't feel rushed in this process at all. I know this can be kind of scary, especially if you're just starting off. Like, what do I do? I don't know where to put things. And just don't put that pressure on yourself. Just have some fun. My general rule of thumb is that I like to have an area that's a little more busy in my pieces, and then also some areas that are a little more calm and not as marked up. I love to have some plain white space in my artwork, because I really believe that when a viewer is seeing that artwork, your eye is moving around the piece, and that's what I want. I don't want one focal point of my artwork. I want people to kind of get drawn in and then look all around and see all the little details, see all the hidden treasures that I've put in there. That's really important to me, mostly because I feel like it's such a parallel with being a person and a human. We have so many complexities. We have so many things that are kind of hidden beneath, so many stories, and some that we want to share and put out there, and some that we, want to tuck away. So that's really an underlying theme in all of my artwork. All right, if you are one of those that are also creating a piece while watching this video, I am just gonna put a little bit of music on and just let you go at it for a little bit. I'll continue to film, and yeah, just enjoy. Sit back and have a good time. into the washi tape phase of my collage work. Incorporating washi tape into my work is a newer thing. Gosh, who doesn't love washi tape? And I've been able to collect some good different kinds from all over our travels. In particular, in Japan, of course, they had the best washi tape. And so I've just really been enjoying putting that into my artwork. As I said earlier, I love to incorporate some structure and some straight lines in with all the mess and the movement of other parts of my pieces. So washi tape just allows me to get those little lines in there. Again, make little pieces of intrigue that people can kind of find around my pieces. And also, most washi tape that I use, at least, is a little bit transparent. So whatever I have underneath shows through a little bit, and it's just like a natural way to collage. I don't know. I just love it. So I am sticking some pieces down now, and before I finalize a piece, I always go back and will glue underneath each piece of tape just to ensure that they will stay stuck down for the long haul. And so yeah, so my piece I feel like is coming along. I do feel like there's some more color involved, a little bit of more movement, but I'm still feeling like it needs a couple more layers. And so I'm just going to keep dabbling with this a little bit. And I think my next move is to add just a little bit of paint. And this is a little trick I use when I want some of the paper layers that I've added to appear as if they're underneath the surface. I will add just a thin coat of paint, whether it's white or a more bold color like I'm using here, and just kind of drag that along. I don't even use a paintbrush. I just use a piece of cardstock, as you can see. And it just allows those layers that were on top to kind of be hidden underneath just a little bit. So overall, I'm feeling a lot better about where this piece is going. And it's at this point where I just kind of try to fill in some extra spaces that I feel like could be elevated a little bit. So I'm going to pull out my highlighter again here. I have been really into fluorescent colors lately. And so little bits of highlighter or like this hot pink paint that I used, it's just, I don't know, it's doing it for me. And so back to using just a little bit of paint. Here is another example of me just, because that pink was so bright, I just wanted to, again, make it appear as if it was kind of hidden beneath a layer. So I'm just using, this is actually just white gesso, which has a little bit of a tooth or a texture to it, but it's still pretty opaque. And so again, I'm just using that cardboard and I'm dragging it along my piece just to kind of, I don't want to say dampen the colors, but just to create another element of layered effect. And yeah, just to make it feel a little more cohesive and consistent. A little bit of pencil incorporated in is usually like my last step when I'm just about done with a piece. I just like to add a little bit more scribbles and layers. And yeah, I think I am happy with that. And again, I can always go back and add some more layers or change it around a bit, but I'm going to leave it there for now. All right, so now I'm going to shift into these little guys. And in my opinion, I created these about a year ago, and I feel like they are almost not overworked, but I feel as if there's too much going on. And so what I'm going to do here, instead of bumping it up with more bright layers and such, I'm going to actually do the opposite and add some areas of white space just to kind of slow down the motion that I'm feeling in these pieces when I look at them. They're just, I feel like I worked it so much that there's so much movement, and I just want to tune that down a little bit. So by tearing up some collage papers that are a little more calming, more white, I'm bringing in some space to just kind of chill it a little bit. What I want to do is not just recreate the whole piece, but to use the layers that I've created before, to use all those colors that I've put down already and still let them poke through, but just kind of soften it a little bit. So I'm just playing around. Obviously, the pieces that I am collaging with are going to be a lot smaller because the wood panels are smaller. And so actually, speaking of that, yeah, let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see a little bit better of what I am doing. And just a heads up, these pages that I am collaging with right now with the dots and the graph paper, they are part of my downloadable collage paper packets that I have in my Etsy shop. They come with just a bunch of just simple modern designs that you can print out at home and then incorporate into your work. And I just find they work really well against a more abstract, colorful palette. And then the white, as I'm doing here, just kind of brings it all together and adds that structure that I've talked about several times now. So yeah, it's just a great tool. Again, if you're just starting off with collaging and you don't quite know what direction to use, that's just a great thing to download. Very inexpensive. You can use it in many different ways. But just by adding those pieces, you can see that it just completely changes the look of these wood panels. In my opinion, it kind of moves your eye around a little bit better. It adds almost like a 3D effect and just breaks up those bright, bold colors and shapes that I had added previously. So far, I am liking this a lot. So once again, I'm just gonna kind of do my thing here, turn on some music and just, yeah, make this happen. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. So as I'm finishing up these pieces here, I'm just, again, adding a little bit of white paint just to make it appear like those layers are hidden beneath a little bit more. Same thing I did with the larger piece. And it also just makes the piece a little more cohesive because there's some white elements throughout the whole thing and some white space. Goal was to kind of slow these pieces down a little bit and make them a little less in your face, and I think I've achieved that while also still keeping it very complex and interesting. I didn't have to whitewash the whole entire thing, just little bits of it to make it just a little more chilled out. And all of these things that I'm doing, I've kind of had to learn myself through trial and error and experimentation. And so, again, that's just what I encourage you to do. Just get started and see what happens and play around with it. Because I sure didn't know what I was doing when I was starting, and that's kind of the best way to go at it. So I feel like these two pieces, which I will probably sell or hang as a diptych, so I would sell them together. I feel like they are pretty cohesive together. There's a lot of movement there, but now we also have achieved some white space, which is great. And as usual, I kind of keep trying to push it a little bit, keep incorporating some new layers in there. That little bit I love. All right, bring back my fantastic new stencil. Just going to add a couple more little marks, and then I'm just going to call it a day. So if you've made it this far in this video, congratulations. Thank you for being here, and I hope you were able to create something with me here, or at least get inspired to create something. Please let me know how it goes, how you're doing. Reach out, whether you want to send me an email or a comment below. I always love hearing from you all. And as I said, I'm gonna kind of get back on track with creating some videos, and over time I do want to adjust them a little bit based on your feedback. So I'm here for it. Reach out, let me know how you're doing. And above all, please just keep creating, keep making things. And I'll talk to you later. Cheers.